Hi, Logan Christopher here today from Legendary Strength, and today I want to talk about the Peak Performance Trinity. Now I came up with this model because when you have these three things, and there really isn't anything else, everything breaks into these three things, then you're going to be able to achieve peak performance, really achieve a higher level of performance regardless of what you're doing. Any sports, any sort of exercise or weightlifting, you're going to be able to do more when you take care of all of these areas. Now most people, they focus in on one, like the physical training is the main thing. People are all focused in on that. Some people definitely focus on the health and nutrition. Not too many people over here on the mental and energetic training side. But I'm going to give you a brief overview of all this and understand by taking these different components and building them each up, even if you just add like 10% of what you can do in one of these areas, it can unlock better peak performance, really allow you to achieve your goals that much faster and that much easier to do. So let's start with physical training. Now chances are, if you are watching this video, you already have a fairly good base of physical training. You know enough exercises that you really wouldn't have to learn any more over the entire course of your life. You know how to put your training together, understand the principles of progression, know how to do exercise, and can build strength and any other attribute of fitness you want from doing that. Now most people are going to be at this level. Of course, there are definitely ways you can optimize your training. I think the biofeedback method of training is one of the greatest tools to come out lately, and it's definitely something I endorse and personally use. Though my model of it, how I use it, is a bit different from what you'll see other people are doing. So once you take care of this physical training, the body adapts to whatever you're doing with it, and there are so many different ways you can go, so many different tools you can use, different exercises, different goals you may want to achieve. So you take care of this and then you will get stronger. You can understand, if you just do this one, this is probably the most important thing for any sort of performance training. If you just do this and didn't regard this or this at all, you'll still get somewhere. It's not going to be as great, you may not be able to go as long term without this side definitely, but you're going to be able to achieve your goals with the best training. But if you even only have mediocre training but really take care of these other areas, I think you'll actually be able to achieve just as much, if not more. And once you optimize everything, that's when the real great results come. So that covers physical training. Health and nutrition, this is a huge, huge area. There's so many things that I would say just nutrition because that's what most people focus in on, but really health, there's so much more to than that. There is your sleep is a huge factor in any sort of training. The recovery you get, optimizing your hormones. Nutrition is going to have a big part of that, as is physical training, but there are some other things you can do. Some of the areas that I look in here is optimizing your macronutrients. You see, every single person is individual. What works for one person will not work for another. That's definitely true in nutrition, also true in physical training. We're each individuals and you have to find what works for you. So one of the biggest things, one of the biggest factors in that is finding out which of the three macronutrients, fat, protein, or carbs, is your primary source of fuel. With that, most people, if you look at metabolic typing diets, there's about 10% of the population needs a lot higher carbs. If that's you and you're trying to go on like an all-meat diet, you're not going to feel very good. But in contrast to other people that work better with protein and fat, or just protein or just fat, different mixes of the two, you really have to find what works individually for you. Another big part of nutrition, I personally want to be Superman, so I like to take superfoods, super herbs, things that have packed a lot more punch in nutrition than your standard foods. Because the truth is, with the way our soil is, the condition of our food, even if you get the top quality food, it really doesn't have as much nutrition as it should, as much as it used to many years ago. Add to that the additional stresses of our life, from pollution, from electromagnetic pollution as well, and just going through stress, which eats up our B vitamins as an example, but so much more. We need even more nutrition today. And if you're training hard, you need even more nutrition at that point, because this is placing a stress on your body. It's a good stress, but you need even more of it. So taking care of this and really optimizing what you can do in this area is going to allow you to train more, train harder, and get much more out of your training by doing it. You're not going to become sick. If you're ever becoming sick, ever get sick, then your health is not where it can be at. There's really a super level, health beyond danger. It's a Chinese medicine idea of radiant health. That's where I want to be at. And I know by doing this, by getting the optimal nutrients, this is going to be much easier and you're going to get faster progress. So that brings us to our third area, the mental and energetic training. Now most people don't even do this at all, 100% period. Completely focused on here and maybe here, but this is something that doesn't enter into most people's mind. Even though it's been proven to work so many different times. Take visualization, for example. That's one of the simpler forms of mental training, and it is very effective. Many studies have shown just how effective it is. Yet how many people are using it, and how many people use it consistently and do enough of it to really get the benefits from doing it. Here's a quick question to ask yourself. Do you do more reps in your mind than you do in the gym? If not, you're not doing enough mental training. And there's many other things that go along with mental training. Goal setting, really how you optimize that whole process so you can get to your goals, going along with the physical training, the health and nutrition, whatever your goals happen to be. There's so much more, from energy psychology, doing energy drills that are going to optimize the energy of your body to be able to allow you to perform much more. So when you do this, I think this is a component most people neglect, but also when you add this in, what you can accomplish with this is going to dramatically improve what you can do with everything else. So this definitely needs to be plugged into the whole model. So this is the Peak Performance Trinity. Understand that you can't become perfect at any one of these. There's no such thing. It's great to seek perfection, but not to be a perfectionist. So you just try to do as best as you can. If we just divide these up and say that each one is 33% of being able to perform at a peak level, you know, it's not necessarily going to break up just like this, but let's use that as an example here. Let's say each one of these areas was equally important for the whole picture. Let's just assume that. But a person is only focusing on physical training. Let's say they're doing really good with the physical training. Let's say they have some of the best training in the world. It really works out well for them. They've been doing it many years. And so they're close to maximizing that area. But they really haven't looked at health and nutrition, what it can do for them. So they're only at 10%. Because they really don't do much in that area, and they do nothing over here. So even with the best physical training and doing some health and nutrition, not being far off the deep end of completely working toward getting yourself a disease, but with this, they're at 40% of what they can potentially be. By adding just a little bit of this in, just a little bit, mind you, maybe we can increase that 10%. So what can that do in aiding their physical training if we add in some supplements? Because in this day and age, with everything, supplements are basically your insurance policy. They take care of things that your food should be giving you, but most likely is not. So adding some key supplements that are very important, like vitamin D, for example, really simple, cheap nutrient that you can take. The vast majority of people don't get enough of, but so important for optimizing health. Vitamin D is crucial for activating over 3,000 genes in the body that have to do with health. Think that might be important. It's also actually a hormone. Think that might be important for gaining strength and possibly muscle or even losing fat as well. So just a few things here, and we go up to 20%. And this person is nearly doubled. You know, if they do a little more, then they could double what they're doing. So when you optimize these other areas that you may be neglecting, I'm not saying that you're all of a sudden going to be able to double the weight you can lift in the gym. You know, if you're just starting out, definitely not at this level, then yeah, in a short amount of time, you will be able to double the amount of weight. But here, if you can just add like 5% over a month, 10% over a couple months, what is that worth to you? And you stack that, compound that over time by doing these, you're going to be able to achieve much more, especially the health area. I think it's really important. This is how I view my training. I look at health first, performance second. So getting stronger, for instance. That would be one area of performance. And then aesthetics third. Other people may not have it in this order. And that's fine if you choose to do that. But I think having health as the #1 thing you're looking out for is very important. This is going to allow you to do it longer over time. And yes, I'm young right now, but I expect when I'm double my age to be much stronger than I am currently. That's by taking care of health first, stacking all these things on top of each other, able to achieve a lot more over time. So wherever, just take stock of where you're at right now. Maybe your training is really good, your health and nutrition is really good, but you need to add this in. Just learn a few basic things. And there's some really advanced stuff, some really cool advanced stuff I can show you, but some basic stuff like better goal setting, visualization, focusing, using anchors, that sort of thing can really optimize this quickly. You can get from a level of 0 to 10% pretty easily. Or maybe you're doing this pretty good, you're doing this over here, but you add in a few things here, can dramatically make a difference. So this is the Peak Performance Trinity. I hope you like this model. If you take into account everything you're doing along with this, you're going to be able to get much more out of what you're doing.